A little girl's Christmas. It was Christmas Eve, and little girl had just hung on her stocking by the fireplace, quite ready. It would be ready for Santa when she slipped down the chimney. She knew she was coming because it was Christmas Eve and because she always had come to leave gifts for her on all the other Christmas Eves that she could remember, and because she had seen his pictures everywhere downtown that afternoon when she was out with Mom. Still, she wasn't just satisfied. Away down in her heart, she was a little uncertain, you see, when you have never really and truly seen a person with you open eyes. It's hard to feel as if you exactly believe in him, even though the person always has left beautiful gifts for you every time he has come. Oh, here comes, said the little girl. I just know he will be here before morning. But somehow I wish. Well, what do you wish? Said a tiny voice close by her, so close that the little girl fairly jumped when she heard it. Why, I wish I could see Santa Claus myself. I'd just like to go and see this house and his workshop and ride on his slide. And know Mrs. Santa, Mr. Santa, would be such fun, and I'd know for sure. Why don't you go then, said Tiny Birds. It's easy enough. Just try on these shoes and take this slide in your hand, and you'll find your way right. So little the girl looked down on her horse, and there were two cunning little shoes side by side, and a little spark of light close to them, just if she were all made out of one of the glowing coals of the wood fire. Such cunning shoes as they were, little girl could hardly wait to pull off her slippers and try them on. They looked as if they were too small, but they weren't. They fitted exactly right, and just as little girl had put them doors on and had taken the light in her hand, along came a little voice of wind, and away she went up the chimney, along with ever so many other little sparks out there, soot fairies, and out into the open air. When Jack Frost and the Star Imps were all busy at work making the world look pretty for Christmas, away went little girl to shoes quite light and all high and high until she looked like a wee bit of a star up in the sky. It was a fine thing, but she seems to know it very perfectly, and didn't have to stop to make inquiries anyway. You see, it was a straight road all the way, and then when one doesn't have to think about turning to the right or the left. It makes things very easy. Pretty soon little girl noticed that there was white light all around her, and very bright light, and right away something down in her heart began to make her feel very happy indeed. She didn't know what the Christmas spirit and little Christmas fairies were all around her, and even right inside her, because she couldn't see a single one of them, even though her eyes were very bright and could usually see a great deal. But that was just it. A little girl felt as if she wanted to laugh and sing to be glad. It made her remember the sick boy who lived next to her, and she said to herself that she would carry him one of her prettiest picture books in the morning, so that she could have something to make him happy all day. By and by, when the bright light all around her had grown very, very much brighter, little girl saw a path right in front of her, all straight and trim, leading up a hill to a big, big house with ever many windows in it. When she had gone just a bit nearer, she saw candles in every window, red and green, yellow ones, and everyone burning brightly, so little girl knew right away that these were Christmas candles to light her in her joy and make the way dear for her, and something told her that this was Santa Claus, but pretty soon she would perhaps see Santa himself. Just as she neared the steps, and before she could possibly have had time to ring the bell, the door opened to himself as wide as could be, and there stood not Santa himself. You don't think it but a funny little man with slender little legs and a roly-poly stomach which shook every now and then when he laughed. You would have known right away, just as little girl knew that he was a very happy little man, and he would have guessed right away, too, that the reason he was so roly-poly was because he loved and chuckled and smiled all the time, for its own lesser cross. The folks were thin and skimpy. Quick as a wing, he pulled off his little pictured cap smile, the broadest kind of a smile, and said, Merry Christmas, come in, come in. So in went little girl holding fast to little man's hand, and when she was really inside, there was choicest, redest, fine and glowing and snapping, and there were little man and all his brothers and sisters who said their names were Merry Christmas and Good Cheer, and ever so many other jolly sounding things, and there were such a lot of them that little girl just knew she never could count them, no matter how long she tried. All round her were models and boxes and piles of toys and games, and little girl knew that they were all ready and waiting to be loaded into Santa's big sleigh for his reindeer to wheel them away over cloud tops and snow drifts to the little people down below who had left their stockings all ready for him. Pretty soon all the little butchers' brothers began to hurry and bustle and carry out the bundles as fast as they could to the steps, where little girl could hear the jingling bells and the stamping of hoofs. So little girl picked up some bundles and skipped along, for she wanted to help it herself. It's no fun whatever at Christmas unless you can have, and they lost to the biggest sled that the little girl had ever seen, and the reindeer were all stamping and prancing and jingling the bells on their harnesses, because they were so eager to be on their way to the earth once more. She could hardly wait for Santa to come, and just as she had begun to wonder where she was as the door opened again, and out came a whole forest of Christmas trees. At least it looked just as if the whole forest had started out for work somewhere. But the second month showed little girl that there were thousands of Christmas sprites, and that each one carried a tree or a big Christmas wreath on his back. Behind them all, she could hear someone laughing loudly, talking in a big, jovial voice that sounded as if he grabbed friends with the whole world. And straightway she knew that Santa himself was coming. Little girl heard heart went beat-a-pat for a minute while she wondered if Santa would notice her. She didn't have to wonder long, for she spied her at once and said, "Bless you, my soul, what's this, and where did it come from?" The little girl thought perhaps she might be afraid to answer him, but she wasn't one bit afraid. You see, he had such a kind little twinkle in his eyes, and she felt happy right away, and she replied, "Oh, I'm a little girl, but I wanted so much to see Santa, and I just came, and here I am. Ho, 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 loves Santa. And here you are. I wanted to see Santa, did you? And so you came. Oh, that's very nice. It's too bad I'm in such a hurry, for we should like nothing better than to show you about and give you a real good time. But you see, it is 11:45 now, and I must be on my way at once, first. I'd never lit that first chimney till midnight. I'd called Mrs. Santa to ask her to get you some supper, but she's busy finishing those clothes which must be done before morning, and I guess I'd better not bother her. Is there anything that you would like, little girl?" And would old Santa put his one hand in little girl's circles, sleeves, and she felt its warmth, and kindness came down to her. "I've never read that first tune told by midnight. I promised Mrs. Santa to ask her to get with how come." "You see, my dear, that even though Santa was in such a great hurry, he wasn't too busy to stop and make someone happy for a minute, even if it was someone no bigger than a little girl." So she smiled back into Santa's face and said, "Oh, Santa, if I could only lie down to earth with you behind those painted reindeer, I'd love to go. And won't you please take me? So I'm so small, and I won't take up much room on the seat, and I keep very still, and other one bit." Then Santa laughed such a laugh, big and loud and rollicking, and he said, "Even the white does she well, shall we take her little elves? Shall we take her little fairies? Shall we take her good reindeer?" And the little elves hopped and skipped and brought a little girl a sprig of holly, and all the little fairies bowed and smiled and brought her a bit of mistletoe, and all the reindeer jingled their bells loudly, which meant, "Oh yes, let's take her. She's a good little girl. Let her ride." And before little girl could even see, she found herself all tucked up in a big fur robes beside Santa, and Fish went right out into the air. All the clouds through the Milky Way and right under the high handle of the Big Dipper all moved toward the Earth, and Oscar's little girl began to. Presently she felt the honest grip upon something, and she knew she must be on someone's roof, and that Santa slipped down someone chimney and how she wanted to go to see if you had never been down a chimney and seen Santa fill out the stockings. You would want to quite as much as you did. Now, wouldn't you? So, just as the little girl was wishing as hard as ever she could wish, she heard a tiny voice say, "Hold." Glanced to his arm, hooked tight to his arm. So she held Santa's arm tight and close, and he shouldered his back now, thinking that it was heavier than usual, and with a bolt inside there they were Santa little girl back and home right in the middle of the roof, where there was a fireplace stopping honey for Santa to fill. Just that Santa noticed the girl, he had forgot all about her for a minute, and he was really much surprised when she had come to Christmas, so he said, "Where did you come from, little girl, and how in the world can we first get out to the chimney again? It's easy enough to slide down, but it's quite enough not to climb up again." And Santa looked really worried. Little girl was beginning to feel very tired by this time, for she had had a very exciting evening. So she said, "Oh, never mind me, Santa. I'd had such a good time, and I'd just as soon stay here a while, isn't it?" And the leaf had pulled up on his hearthrug a few minutes and had a little lamp for it looked small and cozy. Its armor over hers ragged hole, and one it is arm over hers, and its one over nurse also steady being in his chair with him every night, and there is a bunny cat who up on his cushion in the and little girl turned to thank Santa and say goodbye to him, but either he had gone or quickly else she had to sleep very quickly. She never could tell which were doing, since she knew Daddy was holding her in his arms and was saying, "That is my little girl doing here. She won't go to bed, for it's Christmas and old Santa won't come if she thinks there are any little frogs about." What little girl knew better than that, and when she began to tell him about and how the Christmas fairs had come welcome her, and how Santa had given her such fine wine, Daddy laughed and said, "You have been dreaming, little girl, you have been dreaming." But little girl knew better than that too, for there on hers was a little black ball which had given her two shorts and white light and tight in her hand. She held a holy burn, which one of the Christmas bells had placed there. More than all that, there she was on the hearth rug herself, just as Santa and left her, and that was the best proof of all. The trouble was Didi himself had never been a little girl, and she couldn't tell anything about it, but she knew she hadn't been dreaming. Now don't we, my dears?